Okay, it's working now. Yes, guys, we're about to get started. And girl, and maybe two girls. I don't know if Shelly is still on. Shelly runs.
Started. And girl, maybe two.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. So I'll post the link. I'm not going to post the link, actually. I'm just going to say join my newsletter. Join my newsletter, ninthlimb.com/newsletter. I think that's the link. I hope it is. Okay. All right. Here we go. Yes. Yes. Fuck you, Facebook. All right. Man. Okay. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to click record to the cloud. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Science of Spiritual Growth. I'm very excited to talk with you today about what I'm going to talk with you today about. My name is Yogi Chris, PhD, aka Chris DeVilbiss. I'm the founder of Ninth Limb Yoga. If this is your first time tuning in, this podcast is sponsored by Ninth Limb Yoga. You can find out all about Ninth Limb Yoga. Go to ninthlimb.com or go to Instagram. Check out #ninthlimb. So I'm just going to kind of get right into it because there's nothing else to do about it. I'm not going to dilly-dally around. We got people on Instagram Live. We got people on YouTube Live. And anyway, if you catch this later on iTunes or YouTube, or if you like it on Instagram, share it with people, comment. Let me know what you think about it. You know, your comments help, make this video arrive in the feed and, on iTunes and everything. So that's enough of that plugging. Okay, so this episode I've titled what did I title it? Heart Opening Experiences. I've been going through a lot of emotions lately, going through a breakup. I mean, that's kind of finally complete. In serious talks with another girl that, because just got to get right into the next relationship. One of the misconceptions I see a lot, and this because I've grown through this phase, and so I'm not like more evolved than other people in many aspects of life, but there are some things I'm more involved in, just like there's some things you're more evolved than me in. And one of those misconceptions I see is, let me just fully 100% get over my previous relationship before I get into the next relationship. I want to 100% heal from my last relationship before I get into a new relationship. And that is dumb. I'm just going to tell you right now, I've done that. It was dumb. It's not smart. That's not a smart thing to do. Damn, your audio went out. Be right back. Oh, come back, Soul Grown. Yeah, that is not a smart plan, because you don't get good at being in relationships, being out of relationships. You can't be out of a relationship and work on yourself and somehow get good at a relationship. You're just getting good at being alone. Being good at being alone doesn't make you good at being in a relationship. In fact, it makes you worse, because you need to communicate through all of those difficult things that you don't want to talk about, insecurities, things that you don't like about what the other person's doing, think that you don't like about yourself, what you're doing, your reactions to things, sensitive topics that you don't know if you want to bring up because you might lose the person, because from my perspective, I'm a very controlling guy. I'm a very controlling guy. I like my girlfriend to behave a certain way within the framework of our relationship. And if it doesn't happen that way, I get really upset. And that's also not good for a relationship, but that's where I'm evolving. That's not even what I was going to talk about, but it's definitely been a lot of turmoil in my body in the last, I don't know when I broke up with Angelica. It was like Christmas Day or something, or like right around there. And I didn't break up with her. She broke up with me. Let's just get real about it. I tried to save the relationship, and she wasn't having it. And bless her heart, she lasted 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days. Okay, so that means I guess it was the 19th. It was December 19th that we broke up. And it was a distance relationship, and she has a son, and bless her heart, I don't want to put her under the fucking the light right now. She lasted a long time for a distance relationship, and I think I did a really, really good job. I think I did better than any man I know. Any man alive, I think I did better at that distance relationship than anybody I know. And I grew a lot, and I know a lot about relationships now. But that so I don't know what today's date is, the 16th. So that's like 16 plus like 11 days. So that's like 27 days. So it's like 4 weeks. So it's been 4 weeks. And so definitely highs and lows. And like I said in the Silent Flute lecture, new girl took a road trip with me, and I cried like half the way. it was like a 20-hour road trip and like 3 days in the car together. And I cried like half of that. And it was pathetic. I had never done that before. First, I don't know that I'd ever really cried over an ex-girlfriend because I didn't love anybody as much as Angelica. And definitely not crying in front of a new girl over old girl. That was a new experience for me. I didn't know how she was going to take. She took it really well though, and that's why I still like new girl. You'll know more about her if she keeps passing the tests. Right now, she's actually failing. She's failing the test today, and that's kind of what I was going to talk about. Is tightness in the chest. Oh man, I've had so much tightness in my chest, soul grown. This morning I was walking around, compounding all of the misery I was going through as I locked myself out of my Airbnb. So I was just walking around the neighborhood listening to lectures and some music because I got really into, I had this like flashback of this Fleetwood Mac song. I'm not even a big Fleetwood Mac fan, but this one song, anyway, if I keep going on tangents, I'm never going to finish this episode. So I was like walking around the neighborhood for like 2 hours, listening to lectures or whatever, and tightness in my chest. I was like, fuck this, man. I'm trying to breathing in. I know I'm breathing in, breathing out. I know I'm breathing out. I'm like, it didn't really let go. What ended up letting it go was a nap. I took a nap and then I woke up and I did some yoga. And you're going to see those pictures because like I said, right before the live stream, I achieved a new yoga pose today. That's always exciting. I think I had done the pose before, but never on the left side because I'd done it one time in El Paso, Texas, February of 2018 and I remember that actually. It's amazing. It was probably, I don't know the day exactly, maybe February 9th. And I achieved this pose. It was like a half lotus with the other leg behind the head. And so I achieved it on the left side today. So it was great. First time I achieved it since I hadn't even attempted it since then. But I learned these new techniques from Robert Bustani, who's a master yogi, 71-year-old yogi in Houston, Texas. So if you're in Houston, highly recommend go see Robert Bustani and Pralaya Yoga. Shout out to Pralaya Yoga. And yeah, really hip opening and does a lot for the nervous system. So that's kind of also what I wanted to talk about is his hip opening technology, the ways basically to activate the outer hip muscles, glute medius, and how to separate the pelvis bones does a lot for your nervous system. Really starts to just, it's like a wave of sensations will come up your nervous system. The spinal cord kind of ends around the solar plexus and then it horsetails. It's just like a bunch of like nerves that come down versus the spinal cord is all wrapped together. It's like a cord. It's a cord. It's like a rope, but then it turns into like a frayed, frizzled kind of string at the bottom. And the way that I do Robert Bustani's hip opening is really sensational. It feels like a wave of emotion or like a wave of like air, like a bulbous like wave of air comes up the body and it starts really fucking with your spinal cord in good and not so good ways. And so I really, after I do his systems, man, I feel so open and it's not always comfortable. It's actually sometimes very uncomfortable. I feel very sensitive. I feel like all the light frequencies, I feel like I'm perceiving things that aren't really being seen by my eyes. And it's really agitating. There's a lot of suffering in the world. There's a lot of hate in the world. There's a lot of just people aren't doing well all around. They pretend a lot. And I think I'm doing better than most, but how do I know? What do I know? But there's a lot of suffering. And the relationship that just ended for me, and then it transitioned right into a new relationship. Like no time to waste. Just don't lie. Just don't lie to the new girl about when I'm feeling things for the old girl. Like that's all. I remember my prior inclinations to not get into a new relationship was, well, I'm just going to be talking about the other girl. And bless her heart, new girl. I mean, I told so much about Angelica, still keeping all of this. I'm not trying to like, say things that it is Kundalini energy, soul grown. That's what it is. I just am not, it is. And Kundalini isn't like a light switch. It's not on or off. It's a gradation. So yeah, it starts to bubble up the spine and then you'll catch blockages up the spine and you become very open and sensitive to things. But I don't know that I'm fully qualified to talk about Kundalini energy. I can talk about my experience, but there's a whole system describing Kundalini and anyway, just look at the picture that I posted today on my Instagram of the guy that's holding the dragon and he's fornicating with his consort and read the written post I put below that. And that's kind of basically what I know about Kundalini. Basically, what I'll talk about here on Science of Spiritual Growth, this is a communication podcast. And, kundalini is, phenomenal. And you can see all cool things. You can see lots of things in your internal universe. You can have a lot of cool perceptions outside of you. But none of that is senior to communication. I was just telling somebody on my way home that if I had to trade, all of my yogic powers and all my yogic abilities for a good communication relationship versus having every siddha, being able to levitate and telepathy and all the fucking cool things that yogis can do. But I had a shitty relationship with some girl that didn't wear makeup, didn't care how pretty she was around me, was bossy, aggressive. Like, man, I would give up all my flexibility, all of my meditation practices for a good relationship. If it was that choice. Good thing it's not. You can have both. And I've been feeling so open with this system of yoga that I've been practicing from Robert Bustani, and combined with all of the turmoil of ending a most deeply felt and loving relationship that I've ever had to date. And just like you said, Soul Grown, best is yet to come. I mean, it's only going to get better and better and better. It's not about comparing women against women, but I keep improving and I'm going to get better and better relationships. I'm not going downhill. The guy that stops dating because he wants to fully get over that last relationship, he wants to be totally healed before he gets into the next relationship. That old system of thinking that I had like 8 to 10 years ago. That guy's going downhill. That guy's next girlfriend is going to be worse, because you get worse at relationships if you're not in relationships. Maybe there's a little mourning period, but I mean, it's not that much. And New Girl really passed a lot of the tests as I navigated in myself. How do I talk about Angelic? How do I talk about my ex-girlfriend in a way that's like, doesn't just totally preoccupy the conversation? Like, I got things I need to get off my chest. I got things I need to talk, because if I don't, then I'm going to have this weird energy inside of me while I'm trying to interact with the new girl. And that can't happen because she can tell. Women can tell when you're distracted by your own thoughts, when you're thinking in the cloud, like they can tell when you're not present with them. But if being like, tears come, frowny face comes, like she needs to know that it's not her, that I'm not getting frowny faced or upset over her. And I need to know. She needs to know when I'm like getting an angry tone or something, that I'm not angry at her. I'm angry at the things that I'm seeing in my mind. And she just happens to be the receiver of my communication. I stopped dating, laughed my ass off. Celibacy for the ego. That's interesting. Never stop, bro. Don't stop. Don't stop. You can be celibate. You don't have to give your body away. But don't stop. Don't stop. I'm telling you from a man who could just be your older brother, just a few years ahead of you. Don't stop. You got to go through that. You got to keep communicating with new girls. And that's going to be the most healing thing for you. Don't communicate. So it's not, I used to rely on mom or grandma or sister, the women in my family, my genetic family, to be like, and it's not good, because that goes back into the patterns. The way that mom and dad have their relationship set up, the way that sister and grandma has their relationship set up is not what I want in life. They're doing it for them. I don't care how they do it. They do it what's right for them. But I don't want how they got it. I have a teacher in life. I know what kind of relationships I want, because I journal about it every day. I need to keep communicating with new women, and even if it's just a new woman, and be engaged in that negotiation. A relationship is a negotiating process, for sure. Good point. Yes. Okay. Yes. Makes more sense. Yes. Okay. So I've been feeling really open lately. And like I was saying, I got kind of cut off on enlightened masculinity yesterday because it was short, and I have a co-host, so I can't just go off talking for 20 minutes straight. And that's what was happening. So bless his heart, he cut me off when he needed to, because I wasn't letting him get a word in. But you need to communicate when you're going through a transition, so that the world can resonate or dissonate with you. When you're going through an evolution, you must get your voice out of you. This is a key mantra. It's in my book of spells that I have in the silent flute. One of the key mantras for Vishuddha, the 5th chakra, is get my voice out of me. Get my voice out of me. Get my voice out. Get my voice out. People love hearing my voice. People love to hear my voice. This is something I'll say to myself 100 times if I'm nervous about getting my voice out. And you get your voice out of you. That is your mind expressed. And the world can then know who you are. Your signature is your voice. Yeah, your signature is your posture. Your signature is your smell, your odor, your scent. Your signature is your facial expression. Man, none of those things are as powerful as your voice, because your voice can move mountains. Your voice could construct a skyscraper if you knew how to talk. Your voice could make you president of the United States. Your voice could put you in prison if you said the wrong things. Your voice is much more powerful. You must get your voice out of you. You got to figure it out. In the silent flute, I teach all sorts of ways. And you have an energy inside. I've had an energy inside of me. You got to get that voice out of you and calibrate. Yeah, sometimes it's going to come out angry. I say angry things a lot. People, there's a reason I'm transitioning my business. I feel my tone has been off with strangers lately. Good. That is growth. Awesome. What a realization. That's beautiful. I love that. You got to get your voice out of you. And anyway, I'm transitioning my yoga business. I mean, I'm fulfilling commitments that I have at yoga studios. You'll see the changes come up. And what was I saying? So you must get your communication out of you. When you're going through a transition in life, a growth, put words to it. Get a listener. Get somebody, go live on your things. Message people. Try to get on a phone with people. Definitely go out and meet people and talk with people. And will get you out of existing in your invisible mind space, and it'll get you into the world. And it lets the world know who you are. And this is really where you start to reposition yourself in the world, because you'll just be stuck where you are if you don't communicate. It's like saying, I'm going to fully heal before I get into my next relationship. Dude, you're going downhill if that's happening. If you're not adding to your skill set, it's atrophying. Oh, shit. Okay, my phone's about to die. If you're not adding to your skill set, it's atrophying. It's the law of thermodynamics. If you're not adding to it, it's dissipating. Okay? If you're not practicing your communication is getting worse. And what is the point of your yoga practice? It's great to open my body and feel my kundalini raise and be so sensitive in my heart center, my mind center, my genital center, and all my belly center. All of my centers feel so open. Wonderful. Then you become like, one of my guys that I really look up to, this Gokula Chandra guy, who's just incredible. But you can just tell that his communication's off. I would totally learn hatha yoga from him and bhakti yoga and how to worship and things like that. But his communication's off, man. Dude's awkward. And he's not getting his voice out of him enough on normal human subjects, the human condition. So get the human condition out of you. Let people know who you are. It takes practice. You're going to get bumps in the road. You're going to hit bumps in the road. You're going to get bumps in your head. You're going to hit bumps in your ego. Your heart is going to throb. You're going to feel that tightness in your chest. Good. That's what makes you a fucking warrior. It doesn't make you a warrior to talk about being a warrior. It makes you a warrior that even in the tension, when the tension is there, you still talk and you learn to control your emotional communication. You're emoting so that you don't just wreak havoc and destroy everything around you because you're so emotional. How do you learn that kind of communication? I mean, obviously, I highly recommend the Silent Flute. It's my online training program at ninthlimb.com. I recommend my teacher, Arash Dibazar. He's got lots of communication trainings, got some for just guys, got some for everybody. But I am one of the foremost students, and I have a great system in place. So definitely we got some people online that are in the Silent Flute. It's working for them. It can work for you too. So I definitely recommend that at ninthlimb.com. And I know my phone's about to die. So I'll kind of end it here. If you guys got any comments or questions, you've had this whole opportunity to type them out, but I'll give you a minute to type those out if you want. And I'll just wrap up and saying, let's see, I'm here in Jacksonville. So if you know someone in Jacksonville, send them my way. Let them, connect them with me, 3-way chat, or just send them my content. I got 2 gigs coming up this Saturday at Yoga Den Fleming Island. So shout out to Yoga Den Fleming Island. You got featured on my podcast. Then a couple weeks off because I'm flying to San Jose for some events, and then a week off. And then I'm teaching in Clearwater, Florida. So really Florida, another event in Florida. So if you know anybody in Florida, send them my way. And then we got some really great gigs coming on after that. Asheville, North Carolina, very excited about right after that, late February. And then West Virginia. Okay, Cat's Reality. I was just thinking today, what do I have to lose? I've already met so many bumps in the road. My ankles are barely holding me up, literally and figuratively. So yes, Silent Flute has been amazing to build up the confidence and become more connected and disciplined in my practice and communication. Yeah. Cool. That's a great comment. Good shout out to Silent Flute. Yeah, rest. I'll say that rest and recovery is probably underemphasized also. It's really important to, if you feel like you need to take a nap, take a fucking nap. Seriously. It's worth it. It's worth resting. If you want to meditate, you just do it. You don't need to wait for the time to be perfect. You sound very strong, brother, more powerful than a few months ago. Good turning in. Nice. Oh, good to tuning in. Yeah. Well, shout out to my teacher, Rashdi Bazar. He has helped burn my ego in the crucible of life, and I'm coming out an even stronger alloy. So it's a good shout out to him, and I'm glad you noticed. All right, everybody. So that's going to be the end of Science of Spiritual Growth. Again, if you liked it, let me know about it. Let the world know about it. And I'll see you on the Silent Flute at ninthlimb.com. And blessings to you all. Actually, I don't like that word anymore. So be moorings. Be moorings to you instead of be less. It's be more. Be moorings to you all. Namaste.